Hello, everyone, and welcome to IPSI's live forum on Israel, Africa, and Black America. I am your host, Joshua Washington, the Executive Director of the Institute for Black Solidarity with Israel. And welcome. We weren't here last week. We've been kind of irregular these past few weeks, still trying to get our footing with all the new things that are going on, and also with the tragedy that happened at the beginning of this year with the loss of Olga Mishwe Washington. My wife, our beloved Olga. But thank you all for hanging in there with us, and welcome to this live forum. Ping your friends, ping your neighbors. I'm seeing the viewership is already going up pretty quickly, which is great. Let people know we're here. Usually, so we're live everywhere. I'm live on Instagram as well, but just separately this time instead of through this software that we use. So hi, everyone on Instagram. If you see me looking this way, it's because I'm looking at my phone as well, as we are live streaming from Instagram. If this is your first time tuning in with us, visit our website at ibsi.org. You can see what we do, what we stand for, who we are, all that stuff. Get all the latest news and events and all those things. You can also subscribe to our Substack at ibsi.substack.com. ibsi.substack.com. Check out our articles, our podcast episodes. We have paid content, premium content there as well. You can become a paid subscriber and support us that way. You can also support us by becoming a legacy builder. A legacy builder is someone who gives monthly, small amounts monthly, something like $20, $30, $40 a month, whatever you're able to do. Those monthly donations are really key and crucial for us. So thank you for that. And you can also visit our merch store. We have lots of merchandise. We have mugs, we have shirts, journals, all that kind of stuff. And you can see what you can support us and have something to show for it. So make sure you visit our merch store at ibsi.org/store. All right. So announcements. First of all, I want to give a big shout out and a thank you to Stand With Us. Stand With Us, Adith Israel, Mainline Reform, Temple Beth Hillel Beth El, and JCRC for a very, very touching event in Philadelphia. We had such a great time. I was invited to come to Philadelphia for both a mini concert and a Q&A. And so it was a mini Journey to Healing concert. That's the tour that I've been on this year since Olga passed. The first show was in Israel in May, and then it finished last month. Or a few weeks ago, but I was asked to come to Philly and do a special intimate concert in a room full of about 80 people. I shared some of the songs I wrote for Olga since she passed, and then I sat across from Rabbi Eric Yanov, and we talked about grief, about Israel, about the work we do in Africa-Israel relations. We had an amazing time. We really did. It really was touching for me. The boys were able to come with me. It was perfect timing. It's Ezra and Judah. And we had a great time together. We spent a couple of days. Judah was sick the day before. It was a little bit difficult with that, but we had a good time nonetheless, and it was a lot of fun. So thank you all. Thank you to everyone who came out to support, and to the last minute babysitter who came and watched the boys during the event, because Judah was battling sickness the day before. I wanted them to just have kind of the freedom to move around, and so they had him in a separate room. Had a babysitter come and just watch while they played and watched a movie and all that stuff. So really appreciate the support and the community that we have, not just at IPSI, but in my personal life as well, in our personal lives. And we talked about this in Philadelphia, that our Jewish friends, our Jewish family, our Israeli friends, they gathered around us, in the biggest tragedy that has ever hit my life. Ever, the loss of my wife. And the president of Israel, President Herzog, approved of Olga's body to be buried in Haifa. And we had a ceremony, and there was around 200 people there from all over Israel to come, and people who flew in from different parts of Africa to come and to honor our family. And that was in January of this year. We're not lost on the fact that that was in the middle of a war, right? It's not also not lost on us that on October 7th, Olga happened to be landing in Israel, right? And she was there for the beginnings of it. And so now we were burying her in January while that war continued to wage on. That there are people who are there even processing their own grief, their own anxiety, their own fears, and all that kind of stuff surrounding the war. They came and they sat and they mourned with us. So we talked about those things as well. That this relationship is not just a series of talking points, but it is a real deep relationship that is reciprocal, and it's something that has affected us very deeply and personally, and it's only strengthened the work that we do. So the event was it was very full and rich in that way, and I'm excited. The next time I'll be doing something like that will be in Pittsburgh in February, and I'll let you know about that later on as we get closer to that month. Another announcement: returning the favor. I've talked about this now for a little bit. I had an idea years ago. A lot of the best Christmas music was written by Jewish composers. And so I had an idea that, one day I should sit down and write a bunch of Hanukkah music, as a non-Jew. And I had different names for it. But the name that I landed on a couple years ago was Returning the Favor. And I had said that out loud at Wilshire Boulevard Temple in LA during a rehearsal. Everyone stopped. And then the cantor there, Cantor Lisa, was like, "You should do that. Are you going to do that, or is that just a joke?" And I was like, "I guess it's serious. I guess I am doing that." And so from there, I called my co-producer Randy. I said, "Look, we got to do this." And then we came out with a single called "We Remember." Made a music video, collaborated with families all over the country, and it went well. And then January came around, and Olga passed away. And so I wasn't sure if we were going to do this album or finish it or anything. And I'm really grateful for my co-producer, Randy Sandola. He reached out to me and said, "Hey, I know that it's a tough time. I think if you're down for it, we should maybe try and do this project still." And I prayed about it and I said, "You know what? I think you're right. We need to do this." And so, yeah, we just finished it. I haven't even officially announced this yet until right now, but the EP, the album has just been released on Bandcamp. If you go to jodavimusic.bandcamp, I'm sorry, wrong. If you go to jodavi.bandcamp.com, jodavi.bandcamp.com, you can be the first to actually download the album for yourself. Check out the originals and the renditions that we have on there. jodavi.bandcamp.com. Get it? It's called "We Remember, Returning the Favor, Volume 1. That's coming. That just came out. And then the two premieres are in Chicago. That's the first one on December the 7th in Chicago. And then the second premiere is December the 14th in Los Angeles at Wilshire Boulevard Temple. So those are the two big premieres. If you are in either of those areas, I guarantee you're going to have an amazing time. You should definitely come out. That's the cover right there. Sorry, people on Instagram, you can't see it. We couldn't sync it up this time, but yes, that's the cover. We Remember, Returning the Favor, Volume 1. Again, jodavi.bandcamp.com. You can get it. You can download it, play it this Hanukkah season. We Remember is on Spotify, the single. The rest of the songs won't be available for streaming for, maybe about 2 or 3 more weeks. But you can still get it straight from Bandcamp, jodavi.bandcamp.com. All right. Last but not least, for announcements, our CEO and our COO are they're just getting back from Israel now, and he's going to share more about his time there with you when that time comes. A lot of good stuff in the works, but they just finished a trip with a group of Black American and African pastors from across the country. It was a very powerful trip, just from what we were texting back and forth and some of the clips that were posted on our IBSI page. I see that it was a very, very moving and powerful trip, as always. So get ready for that. We have a lot more of those trips coming up, ladies and gentlemen, and we're excited to share those with you. Okay, we got to get into some stuff. Today, and so we're going to do that, y'all. 2 weeks ago, I talked about Nigeria, Qatar, and Syria. And today I'm talking about Nigeria, Qatar, and Syria. It wasn't even on purpose. As a matter of fact, as I was putting the notes together, I built them up from scratch. And then our producer called me and said, "Are these the same? Are these different notes? Because this is the same stuff you want to talk about last week." I said, "No, these are different notes." And because these are paramount right now to what's going on and what this current administration is doing and not doing, and is saying and not saying. So we're going to get into a little bit of that today. This would definitely be a segment that I would have Olga lead most of this, because it has a lot to do with Africa. But we're gonna do our best here. So let's talk about Nigeria first. So let's start at the end before we really get into it, okay? Which was just yesterday. 315 girls, yesterday meaning November 23rd, 2025, 315 girls were kidnapped from a Christian school in Nigeria, in one of Nigeria's largest mass kidnapping attacks. Now, I saw today that 50 of them were able to escape, but that leaves 265 that are still being held hostage. Now, that's what happened just yesterday. Now, I'm going to back up now to the beginning of this particular segment, this timeline, right? Of Boko Haram, the Fulani herdsmen, and the kidnapping of these girls, and what's been happening in Nigeria. Because what's been happening in Nigeria has been going on for a lot longer than mainstream news would have us think, right? And so I want to touch on that right now. So in 2014, right, under the Obama administration, Boko Haram kidnapped 276 Nigerian schoolgirls aged 16 to 18 in the town of Chibok in the Borno state. Okay, remember that, Borno state. That was we remember that was the whole Bring Back Our Girls campaign. That's when that all got started. That was Michelle Obama's first tweet. She had sign up, hashtag We Are Girls, all that stuff, right? 2014. Okay, now I'm gonna fast forward from there, because we saw the hashtags that went on for a while and up and down, and you know, that was a trend. Nigeria was a trend for a minute. Then it died down, and then in 2018, Boko Haram, the same men who kidnapped those girls, they released a video of the girls, and the girls were saying in the camera, "We are never coming back." That's what the girls said. "We are never coming back." That was 2018. And they continue their genocidal campaign against mainly Christians in Nigeria, Boko Haram, and then the Fulani herdsmen as well. So the girls never come back, and Boko Haram continues to slaughter mainly Christians, burn down churches, again, behead pastors, torture and kill pastors in front of their congregations, burn down churches with congregants inside of it, rape women, rape children, anything, all the gruesome, the stuff that happened in Israel on October 7th happens every other day all across these different parts of Africa, mainly to Christians, which is why our African brothers and sisters, a lot of them, they knew exactly. Our friend Simon Deng, who's a former slave from Sudan, when he saw what took place on October 7th, he wept, and the first thing he did, he got the next plane he could get to Israel to lead a march from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, to sit in Jerusalem and mourn with his Israeli brothers and sisters. He led a march. He walked all that way. Tons of people, including Sudanese Israelis and other Israelis from all over the country, joined him in walking all the way to Jerusalem in support of the Israelis. He knew, he was like, when I saw the images, I immediately knew I felt what you were feeling, because I've been there. I've seen people get slaughtered in front of my eyes before, all that stuff. So that's what's happening in Africa. June 20th. Now I'm fast forwarding a few more years. 2024. This happened last year, and actually Olga and I were the ones who talked about this. 3 female suicide bombers in Nigeria target a wedding, a funeral, and a hospital, killing 18 people in where? The Borno state. So same area in Nigeria. Same area where the girls were taken. Now you have 3 female suicide bombers, which I think this is the first time Nigeria's ever had female suicide bombers ever. Target 3 areas in the 3 events in the same area in Nigeria, killing 18 people. And it's people were saying, "Oh, we don't know." And then, you know, as time went on, it was like, okay, guys, it's pretty obvious who these girls are. These are the girls who were taken in 2014. Remember those girls that Boko Haram took, and then Boko Haram made them say we're never coming back? 10 years after they were kidnapped, Now they're being used as weapons. Either they've been forced to, or they've been sufficiently brainwashed. 10 years is a long time to be in someone's captivity and not be brainwashed. It's very possible that these girls have been sufficiently brainwashed to hate their kin, to hate their Christian brothers and sisters, to hate their family and their friends. And they felt justified, or again, just a threat against their life, to go and blow themselves up in these areas. So not only were the girls taken, some of them were used as human bombs. That's what happened in 2024. Okay. That's June 2024. November 1st, 2025, President Trump threatens Nigeria with threats of military action over Christian persecution. Okay. That was November 1st of this year, this month. November 17th, unknown gunmen, quotation marks, kidnapped 25 more schoolgirls. That was on the 17th. November 21st, President Trump condemns Nigeria again, calling the country a disgrace. Yesterday, November 23rd, 315 girls are kidnapped from a Christian school in Nigeria in one of Nigeria's largest mass kidnapping attacks. 50 escaped. As of today, 265 are still hostage. Cool. Now, it's important, you guys. It really is. Before we get to the why, before we get to the whatever it is, we have to look at the what. We have to look at the what. Okay? And what I mean by that is sometimes, and I've seen this happen in real time, both in conversations I've had and conversations I've seen our CEO have, where we're talking about, we're going to get into some of these things I'm going to get into right now. And the people who don't really want to hear that news, they try to attribute a why. Well, maybe maybe it's happening because of this, or maybe it's because of that. We don't care what the reason is. We're telling you what's happening. Okay? So I'm giving you the what right now. You can take it however you want to take it. You know, the whole the terminology "don't shoot the messenger" is a real thing, because people will get so angry with the message they receive they would kill the messenger. Right? Do whatever you want to do, but this is not me attributing any motive to this. I'm just telling you what is happening. Okay? I'm just setting this up for you. So now, our president, President Trump, has condemned Nigeria several times publicly, threatened military action, all that stuff. He's getting louder and louder about Christian persecution, and that alone is not a bad thing. Our friends at the African Jewish Alliance are thankful for it. Our Nigerian brothers and sisters are thankful for it. They're saying, thank you, President Trump. He's calling attention to it, and it needs to be called out. What's happening in Nigeria has been needing to be called out for a long time. So the fact that President Trump is calling attention to it inherently is not a bad thing. However, this is where things get dicey, you guys. And again, we have to look at the what. One of the largest sponsors of terrorism and terrorist activity, and I would say one of the largest subverters of the American system, is Qatar. Qatar pumps billions of dollars into our universities and has done so since the 80s. And for those of you who are in this advocacy space, all of the anti-Israel BS that we see on campuses, in textbooks, in high schools and in colleges, the professors that work. Remember that documentary that we talked about? Charles Jacobs, our friend, he made a documentary in the year 2000. Was it 2000 or 2008? 2000, called Columbia Unbecoming. And he wrote this. He made this documentary back then. No, it was after. It was 2000 and sorry, I wasn't going to talk about this. It was after 9/11, so it wasn't 2000. 9/11 2001, so maybe 2004. He wrote it in the early 2000s, called Columbia Unbecoming. The documentary was about how Columbia University was off the chain then, right? Way back then. And it was just accounts from college students, Jewish students, Israeli students, who were being bullied and who were being intimidated by professors who weren't teaching they weren't teaching, they were indoctrinating, right? They were preaching. They were pressuring their students to go to these rallies with them, and they were preaching their own ideology to these kids. They weren't teaching them what they were supposed to be teaching them, right? This was happening in, I want to say 2004. Please don't quote me. As a matter of fact, I wasn't going to talk about this, but now we're here. I'm going to just type it in. Columbia Unbecoming, because I just want to make sure I get the year right, because it's important. The Columbia Unbecoming documentary that was made 2004. So I was at 2004. Okay, this documentary was made in 2004 about how things were bad then. A lot of that stuff, you all, that's Qatar. That funding comes from Qatar. The funding for these groups, funding for these professors, for these textbooks, all the stuff that we continue to fight, all of the mass. You talk about how all the anti-Semites talk about how Jews control the media. You know, social media is just rampant with all the free Palestine stuff. That is Qatari money. Qatar supports Hamas. Qatar is a safe haven for Hamas leaders to go to when they need to go to there, right? Qatar has been that. Qatar is behind October 7th. This is who Qatar is, and this is who they've always been. Okay? They are a main sponsor of global terrorism. They have a system of slavery. They've invested over $6 billion into American universities over the past 40 years. Okay? This is Qatar. Qatar, together with Iran, are responsible for much of the terror that goes on the continent of Africa. So, naturally, you would think someone who's going to call out what's going on in Nigeria and threaten Nigeria with violence surely is going to call out one of the root causes of what's going on in Nigeria. Yeah, no. So now here's a short timeline of what's going on between our president and Qatar. May 14, 2025, President Trump signs historic $1.2 trillion economic commitment in Qatar and accepts a $400 million plane as a gift. Okay. Well, the plane, the reason could be, I don't care about the reason right now. I'm telling you the what. Just please stay with me. All right. Then he did the same thing he's doing right now to Nigeria. He did to South Africa. So he had Cyril Ramaphosa. Remember that meeting that he had with the president of South Africa? He sat down and he scolded him and embarrassed him on the global stage over the claims of one, because of what's going on in South Africa. You need to do something about those Afrikaners. And then he took him to task about taking Israel to the International Court of Justice over false claims of genocide. Remember the whole ICJ case that we were all on top of? You guys remember that whole thing? Israel was taken to court, and South Africa, right? South Africa, the country that has a lot of moral authority because of their fight against apartheid, South Africa takes Israel to the International Court of Justice. And so President Trump takes Cyril Ramaphosa, the president of South Africa, to task for it and embarrasses him on the global stage. Who orchestrated that? Qatar. Who gave the money to these ANC leaders and told them to do this? Hamas, who's backed by Qatar. So how are you going to, like a child, bend them over and spank them on the behind from everyone, and not address the people who are propping him up to do such a thing? And we talked about that then. Okay, so now you're going to throw South Africa under the bus and not actually deal with the people who are propping up South Africa to do these things in the first place. And not only do you not deal with those people, but then you lock arms with them. You get buddy-buddy with them. You say all kinds of nice lovey-dovey things about them. Again, just telling you the what. There's a term that's escaping me, but I'm just going to explain to you what it is. It's well, I guess it's double speak would be kind of what that is, right? I'm going to break it down like this. I have two sons, Ezra and Judah. Ezra 6, Judah's 4. And this would be like, okay, Ezra keeps telling, this is my example, okay? The boys know they're not supposed to stand up on the furniture. So this is like Ezra keeps telling Judah, stand up on the furniture, stand up on the furniture. It's okay, you can do it. It's okay. Go ahead. Look, I'll give you my share of dessert if you stand up on the furniture. I'll give you my ice cream or whatever they have. Judah says, okay. So then Judah stands up on the couch. Now, me, the father, I'm sitting here in earshot of this conversation. I know exactly what took place. I heard Ezra tell Judah, if you do this, me as an older brother, I'm telling you it's okay, and I'll give you some of my dessert, but you got to do this. Judah says, okay, and he does it. That would be like me walking over to Judah, spanking him and putting him in bed and saying nothing to Ezra. Do you see where I'm going from this? And then it happening again. Ezra tells Judah, look, I want you to go outside, okay, step in that mud pile and come back in and walk around the carpet. And Judah's like, are you sure? Yeah, do it. I promise. If you do it, I'll give you all this stuff. Okay, sure. So then Judah does it. Now, Judah knows he shouldn't do this, so he still has a choice. But the problem is, I keep addressing Judah, and I'm not addressing my oldest, who's prompting him to do these things in the first place. Why am I just dealing with Judah and then letting Ezra run away? Am I really serious about the rules I set up in the house? If I was serious about justice in the house and rules being followed, then I would say, Ezra, why are you as the oldest telling Judah to do X, Y, and Z? Yes, Judah, you can still choose not to do it, but Ezra, you're the oldest brother, and I expect you to set some sort of example. Okay, so that's me dealing with it on the levels I'm supposed to deal with it. How are you going to take South Africa to task? Sure, they still chose to take money from Qatar. They still chose to take money from. That's absolutely fine. That's absolutely true. But how are you going to do that and then lock arms with Qatar? So that'd be like, not only am I not dealing with Ezra, I give Ezra gifts and stuff and talk about how great he is. Ezra's just my most responsible child. I love Ezra so much. What message am I sending? And that's what's going on right now. So, okay, fine. It's good that you're speaking about what's happening in Nigeria. It's good that you're calling out the Christian persecution. We've been doing that for years. A lot of people have been doing that for years. A lot of people who've been doing that for years are grateful that the president now is saying something about it. The problem is the president is also emboldening those who are funding it in the first place. So you're not really dealing with it, then, are you? You're not really dealing with it if you're not actually going after the root. You're chopping the branches off the tree and you're saying, look at this. I chopped the branches off the tree. The tree's smaller now. Everyone's like, oh, look at that. Yay, Mr. President, chop those branches. You're a good branch chopper. Go ahead, do your thing. All the while, he's pouring water into the roots so that the tree can continue to grow. So just like the announcement that was made yesterday that Trump is going to declare the Muslim Brotherhood a terrorist organization, that's a great thing. I hope that he goes all the way through with it and does it. Kenya has done it already. Uganda's done it. Egypt did it a while back. Egypt, where Muslim Brotherhood was born. Egypt's like, you guys are terrorists. So it's a great thing. However, he's still budding with Qatar, emboldening Qatar, doing business with Qatar, making these multi-billion-dollar deals with Qatar. And Qatar continues to fund. You know that Qatar doesn't just fund like I talk about universities and textbooks and all that stuff. You know that Qatar has companies all over the U.S. that are like construction, architectural companies. There are churches, there are places of worship and other buildings in the U.S. whose construction companies are owned by Qatar. Now, come on a second. If you are a country that already funds propaganda against our country in our schools, in our children's textbooks, why in the world would you also own construction companies in our country? And you're going to do multi-billion-dollar business deals with them while you sit there and yell and scream at Nigeria as if it's just a vacuum. It's happening in a vacuum. That's not being serious, ladies and gentlemen. That's only going to make things worse. And though Trump didn't create the conditions of Nigeria, he's certainly creating the conditions of Syria as we speak. Our CEO wrote a couple of different articles over the past 2 months. One is Blood on Our Hands, and the other one is called Blood on Our Hands Part 2. Okay. I want to just. So all the while that Trump is talking about Nigeria, this, Nigeria, that, again, so buddies with Qatar and buddy with Syria's new president, who is not a former jihadist. He's not a former. There's nothing former about his jihadism. He's a jihadist. He's a jihadist who's killed many, including Americans, as both an ISIS and an Al Qaeda fighter. And until late December, he had late December last year, he had a $10 million U.S. bounty on his head. When he took power, his government immediately started slaughtering the Christians and the Druze, the other religious minorities in Syria. What did Trump say? He's a great guy. I love him. I think he's great. You can do all that 4D chess stuff if you want to. Oh, y'all don't understand. He's got a plan. Okay. That's the attributing the why. And that to me borders on idolatry. I remember we went to an event where the theme of one of the talks, one of the speakers, I'm not going to say what event it was. One of the speakers, the theme was trust the man, trust the plan. And I was like, so I was hoping, okay, that speech was going to maybe lay out some other stuff that's going on. The speech was about 95%. This is what Trump did in his first term. Like, yeah, we know we were there for that. We saw it. You know, we said thank you, Mr. President, when all that stuff. Yeah, absolutely. And then the last 5% was, so yeah, to trust him. See, the only entity that I trust like that is God. I'm sorry, but like you haven't given me anything. See, the only entity I trust like that is God. And sometimes I struggle with that. So you cannot tell me that this man, now we just have to trust that he has some sort of plan, even though no one knows what it is. Again, you can attribute the why if you want to, but often we do the why thing to make us feel better about something that doesn't look right. I'm just telling you the what. And the what is ugly. Ooh-wee. All right, you guys, listen. Let me pause for a second and reset the room. So again, this is Ipsy's live forum. We try to do this every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern time. We haven't been as consistent the past few months. Thank you all for your support. Like I said, January 6, 2025 is when Olga passed away. We're coming up on the 1 year of her passing. I count the 1 year on the Hebrew calendar, mainly because the significance of it. I was very curious. Just hours after she died, I was just in deep shock. I was sitting in an Uber, headed to my sister's house. And I just, even in that second, I got curious and I looked at, whenever something significant happens, I have this habit of looking at where it falls on the Hebrew calendar. And this was no difference. Even in my deep shock, I just looked to see what day it was today. And that day was Tevet the 6th. Okay, Tevet the 6th. And I looked at her birthday, my birthday. Then I looked at our anniversary. Our anniversary fell on Tevet the 6th, 7 years prior, which I didn't know when we got married at the time. I just picked December 23rd, 2017. I didn't realize that it was Tevet the 6th. But then once I looked back, I realized that, oh, wow, it's 7 years to the day on God's calendar, which has all kinds of symbolism to it, right? To die on your birthday is a symbol of great righteousness. And Moses died on his birthday. A lot of people, there are different people who died on the day that they were born. And of course, the number 7 means completion. And so I wrote an article about that a while back in my personal Substack called The Unfortunate Completion. And I said, with all this pain, I know that one of the things that God was telling me was that our marriage was righteous, and that it had completed what it was set out to do. Now, I don't think so personally, right? Just in my human mind, we had a lot of life to live, but at least the divine message to me was that no, it completed what it was set out to do. And so, excuse me. So we're coming up on the 1 year, again, for me on God's calendar, on the Hebrew calendar, which falls on December 26th this year. December 26th this year is the 6th of Tevet. And again, I appreciate you all for your condolences, your warm words, and all the things that you guys have done. So thank you for that. And so that's why we've been kind of irregular on our Mondays right now. We're going to get back on that soon. But I thank you for hopping here. I see a comment that says, thanks. I feel there's much I'm missing, though. Penny, if you hopped on at 8:33, then yeah, you definitely, there was a lot you missed in the past half hour. That's okay. So this stream will be available as soon as we're done. Minutes later, it'll be up on Instagram and LinkedIn and Facebook, and you can check it out for yourself. And to look at the stuff that we have been discussing today. Yes, I do want to take this time out to say, and I said this in the beginning, that for the Institute for Black Solidarity with Israel, our work hasn't really stopped. I took a semi-hiatus when Olga passed. Our CEO has been carrying the bulk of the load, and we've been doing a lot with our we've been doing a lot of work with our ambassadors lately, our IPSI ambassadors, and we're going to have a new set of them soon, and all that stuff. We have a lot of great stuff coming up in 2026, and really excited about all those things. Our work hasn't stopped, though. It actually has only increased. And so one of the ways that you can help us very deeply and dearly is by becoming a legacy builder specifically. And so my challenge to those who are watching the stream right now is to go to ibsi.org/donate and become a legacy builder. You can set up a thing. I'm challenging you to give $36 a month. Set up a $36 a month giving donation to IPSI now. If everyone who is logged onto this under the sound of my voice did that right now, that would jettison IPSI forward in so many amazing ways. And we'll continue to keep you updated on the work that we're doing and how it's impacting the Black American communities, and the work between Israel and Africa and Black America and Jewish America, and how we continue to do this, and how that's impacting. So ibsi.org/donate, become a legacy builder, and continue to support the work that we're doing. We'll be all over next year. I'll be making those announcements over the next few weeks. But even starting right at the beginning of January, there's stuff going on in February, both in California, Pittsburgh. There's different things. You'll see me face to face a lot next year. Like I said, it has not slowed down. It has only sped up. And we're looking forward to all that that entails. But yeah, become a legacy builder. Sign up now. Set up your donation. $36 a month. Go to ibsi.org/donate and set up your $36 a month donation. Everyone listening to me now, greatly, greatly, greatly appreciate it. Okay, y'all. Anything else? Any other questions we have or comments? I'm seeing comments come in. Feel free to hop in and say something. But yeah, that's what's going on, you guys. You know, like I said, it is a lot of double speak, and we have to be able to look at things soberly. As a matter of fact, our CEO, he's been tweeting a lot about this, and one of the things he said, he made a couple of comparisons. He said, you know what? If Obama was doing half the stuff that Trump was doing, this Qatar stuff and Syria stuff, I mean, Republicans would be in a conniption fit. He's a Muslim this, he's a Muslim that. And okay, Trump is doing it, and somehow it's 4D chess. See what I'm saying? And that's what I mean by that's the bias. That's the we have to attribute a why because it's our guy and we got to protect our guy. No, it's wrong. When Obama created the conditions that Nigeria is facing now. We called him out for it. Nigerians called him out for it, right? All the meddling in the elections and getting Buhari elected, all that stuff, that was Obama. And we called him out, and rightly so. And we had all the Republicans on our side because, well, Obama was a Democrat. Okay. Now Trump has created very similar conditions in Syria and it's always got a plan. Trust the man, trust the plan. Trump locks arms with Qatar, and it's trust the man, trust the plan. You go, I'm having a hard, I'm just trying to understand what the difference is here, right? Oh, because in his first term, that was his first term. Thank you very much. That was his first term. That was over. That was 8 years ago. Okay. What about what is he doing now? Whoa, budget. Nope. See, that's when we have to be able to look at the what. What is going on? Our Jewish brothers and sisters, our Jewish Torah scholars call it the Peshat, the plain sense of the text. What is happening before we get into the deep diving of, what the scripture means and what it's hinting at and what the esoteric meaning and what it's, what's behind it and what it could be referring to. Let's first look at what it actually says. Who is talking? Who are they talking to? Where are they? How many people are there? What is being said exactly? Let's look at the what, and this what is what we need to look at now. All right. Okay, guys. I'm getting texts from different people. Okay. Again, this is Ipsy. This is our live forum every Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern time. We usually go from 8 to 9. I'm going to sign off a little bit early today. I can feel it. But I do want to give you guys a chance to, again, become a legacy builder with Ipsy. Go to ibsi.org/donate, $36 a month. I'm challenging everyone who's watching this to do. We will be all over the place. I hope to see you all these next few weeks. We're going to be in Chicago. December the 7th is our big Hanukkah premiere. Returning the favor at New Beginnings Church. That's our good friend, Pastor Corey Brooks of Project Hood. He won't be there physically because he's leading a march from California all the way across the country to finish raising the money for his facility. You guys check out Project Hood. But we'll be at his church on December the 7th for our big Hanukkah premiere. And then December the 14th, we will be at Wilshire Boulevard Temple in Los Angeles. Those two concerts are going to be amazing. The Hanukkah album is out now. Go to jodavi.bandcamp.com to get your album, to download it, to listen to it, to stream it. It won't be on any streaming platforms for a couple of weeks, but you can go to Bandcamp, jodavi.bandcamp.com and get it. We remember Return to Favor Volume 1. It's our first Hanukkah album. We're doing another one next year. We're going to keep doing this. So we have 2 premieres. If you're in Chicago, get your tickets. If you're in LA, get your tickets. And then also, my friends in Chicago, I'll be there also for the week before. I have my own show in Chicago on December the 1st. So if you're there, you can come and check me out. I'll be in Evanston. If you want to know more about that, you can just go to jodavimusic.com and you can see what else I'm doing. But I'd love to see you, and I'd love to see you for the Hanukkah concerts. It's going to be a great way to wrap up the year. And then we have a lot of amazing things going on in 2026. So I really hope that you guys will stay tuned and come and see us if we're in your area. We're really looking forward to it. All right, you guys. Again, thank you very much, everyone. You guys have a good rest of your week. It's Monday. Have a great week. And we hope to see you guys again next week, 8 p.m. Eastern time. See you soon.